Philips D8134, 1984. This is the documentation of the experience of a hobby project, made with the hope that it could be helpful to others. This video shows only a simple fixing process, and there is no extra written documentation attached to it. This is a stereo radio recorder made in 1984 by Philips. It appeared in the German Philips catalog 1983 and 1984, page 9, and in the portable audio catalog of summer 1984, page 10. There is online a service manual for the models D8130 and D8132, which seem to be electrically identical to the one of this video. To open the radio case, it is necessary to remove 6 screws. The telescopic antenna is not soldered. There is a wiper that makes a contact on the printed circuit board when the back shell of the case is removed. However, it is necessary to remove the connection to the battery compartment. In this item, the negative wire was already broken. At this point, the radio is tested using a bench power supply, finding that the item works, but the right audio channel is not responding. Before seeking for the origin of the problem in the right channel, the space inside the radio is cleaned using cotton balls and alcohol first, then also an air blower. The board hosting the 4 slide potentiometers is extracted from its location. It is cleaned and then some Vaseline oil is inserted with the help of a small paintbrush. The board is put back in its place, but the problem on the right channel is not solved yet. The headphone jack is very corroded. All the metal parts inside have turned green. But this is also not the cause of the problem. The volume potentiometer is removed to see if it is damaged and if it is recoverable. The trace of the potentiometer seems to be damaged. Therefore, the small case is opened for inspecting it. Unfortunately, the carbon trace is unrecoverable. It is considered the possibility to replace the right channel volume potentiometer with another one that seems to have very little importance in this type of radio. This potentiometer allows gradual shifting between stereo and mono. The size is perfectly compatible, but it has a value of 100 kiloohms, which is the double of the volume potentiometers. Anyway, the stereo mono potentiometer is replaced with a 100 kiloohms resistor, which would keep the 2 audio channels always separated, and the potentiometer is transplanted in place of the right channel volume. For making the transplanted potentiometer a little bit more compatible, a 100 kiloohms resistor is put in parallel with it. The left and the right potentiometers will not be able to change the volume in the same linear way, but the result will be acceptable. The board is put back in its place, and now the two audio channels work. Because the radio is working already, it is judged safer to clean it without removing the body, which is composed of various boards, and of the cassette mechanics. Alcohol, cotton balls, and an old toothbrush are used at this stage. The dial scale of this radio is printed on a paper tape, glued to the plastic of the front shell. However, one side of this tape has come unglued. Therefore, the dial glass is removed. The end of the dial scale tape is completely unglued with the help of a heat gun. Then, some glue stick for paper is used to glue it back in the correct way. Also, the plastic of the dial glass needs attention. There are important scratches, and some sandpaper is used in the beginning. In the end, a lightly abrasive polish product is used as well. Also, the back shell, the handle, and the battery compartment lid are cleaned with alcohol. The telescopic antenna is partly damaged and the last two elements are missing. An eye screw is soldered to the last truncated antenna segment to allow the extraction of the remaining elements. The internal parts of the headphone jack connector have turned green due to a corrosive agent. The connector is soldered on a small dedicated board, which is extracted and separated from its wires. Then the jack socket is desoldered from its board so that the corroded internal pieces can be extracted. A gel product for rust removal and metal polish is used to clean the pieces from corrosion. The metal pieces are then washed with alcohol and put back in their original place. The headphone socket is installed again in its original board, and the board is connected to the original wires. Finally, the set returns to its original position. There is a problem with the cassette mechanics. Unfortunately, cleaning the cassette deck does not help. There are crumbles like the residues of a cookie. Unfortunately, a gear is missing, and those crumbles may be what remained of that gear after a previous inspection of the unit. Under the circumstances, the cassette deck cannot be used with regular cassettes, but may be only for a Bluetooth adapter. It is time to put the radio back together, starting with the connection to the battery compartment. But one should not forget the contacts of the band switch selector. Here some Vaseline oil is applied using a small paintbrush for cleaning them. The case can be reassembled with the back shell and the battery compartment lid. Then the radio is ready for the final test. The test is done in the evening, starting from the long wave band. Unfortunately, due to the electrical noise in the environment, it is not possible to receive any station effectively. Medium wave band.
Your multi-award-winning tour operator, Absa and Patol bonded. Call Star Tours on 028 900.
La massa coprente della roccia garantiva la protezione. Alternative.
Sì, è molto difficile sul campo.
下载音乐，另外一个无聊。
Visit the office or send an inquiry via our website, paulhipkiss.co.uk.
Partnerice so zadovoljne z napredkom pri spremembah v zdravstvu, s pokojninsko reformo, ki bo s socialnimi partnerji usklajena še ta.
Shortwave band. The telescopic antenna is connected to a longer wire.
Za mikrofon Chrystus anda gözümüzün önüne saçılmış oldu. Ben böyle
В студии ведущая Мария. Agencia Exilia de la Unión Europea. Turquía transmite des vertébrés et de paléanthropologie de l'Académie des
Congratulations as the West further stokes tensions, and most recently by undermining the One China principle in
C'est d'émir le leçon et de continuer cette belle histoire. 服务了价值增长，消费投资继续改善，就业。
我要买几张名
No es una cuestión de pasados procesos.
me attingerà.
Notate. Allora, artistica un punto da vedere situato dincolo.
Io, adesso i così.
Nombre de pays n'ont pas respecté ces règles budgétaires.
FM band.
Fine occidentale, quindi il luogo dove il sole tramonta.
E poi ne hanno parlato un po'. Sì.
Ai veri numeri uno. Prendere appuntamento è semplice. Da smartphone.
Simpatico. Sì, magari si sta ascoltando, perché? Con 10.000 chilometri
In un bar, cioè semplicemente perché...
663 4466. Continuate ad ascoltarci. Per un'ora e mezza.
Idratante. La tua pelle è lenita. Gente, fa figo, insomma, fare contenuti.
Prova contraria, extracomunitari.
Giant hanno detto vuoi vedere che è la volta buona ed è stato proprio così. Adesso free all right now.
There she stood.